Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Um, how's everyone doing out there? It is Saturday, March 28th. We are 9:30 and we are ending week two, week three. I think I've lost track of time now of our new normal, social distancing, being very, hopefully, socially responsible for our own health and for those that are around us. Thank you so much for joining us. And I look forward to our conversation today. I'm going to chat a little bit about where we are with the campaign, what information I have as it relates to where we are as a nation, as it relates to the coronavirus, the COVID 19, both here, particularly here in the state of Arkansas. And to give you a recap of some of the information as I understand it, relative to the new stimulus package that the president signed yesterday. Um, but I know that folks are just being inundated with information, news, and updates. So I'm not a journalist. I'm not going to try and take the place of your uh, daytime weekend anchor. I did want to share information and just make sure that you know that this is a place where we will be share information transparently to the best of our information, best of our knowledge, and that we'll just because we want it's important for us to stay connected. And I'm looking forward to our chat today. I've got my nice big cup of coffee. I've got a really terrific friend, Jaclyn House, who's going to join in on part of the conversation today. If you guys were with me with the campaign from the very beginning when we started doing the live broadcast, there was one particular person who was viewing who was just, she had the most fantastic questions and she had them coming and coming and coming. And as soon as the broadcast was over, I texted her and I was like, you've got to come when we do one in the future so that we can just kind of have this dynamic exchange together. And she agreed. So I'm really excited. She's so charismatic, so personable, and just makes friends just instantly. So I hope you'll get a chance to stay and join that conversation. And of course, let me know that you were watching. If we have folks that are on, just send me a shout to let me know that you're here, and then we'll go from there. So, all right. So, do we have anyone out there? Am I talking into the void of the great beyond? I'm going to do a little quick test here. Mm, mm, mm. Oh, okay. Mm, okay. Okay. Check this out. Okay. So anyway, sorry about that. It seems like every week I'm still trying to work through technical pieces, and I really would love for this to be a whole lot more just fluid and organic, and not so much of me kind of freaking out a little bit. But this is who I am. I'm trying my best to do it. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Sophie. Good. Now knowing that I'm not just talking to the computer by myself. Um, so um, yeah. So thanks everyone for joining. and good morning. So, what I do know to give you guys updates on the campaign, I think you guys should have all received emails from the campaign recently. If not, drop me your email address in the comments, and I'll make sure that you are included in the newsletter email updates that go out from the campaign on a weekly basis. Sometimes we send out a couple a week, but that way you can make sure, and we can make sure that we're connected and that you can have the latest information as it relates to everything related to the campaign and what's going on in the community. Oh, my Auntie Debbie is on in Alabama. Good morning, Auntie Debbie. And April. Hello, April. Good morning. Good morning. Um, so, of course, we're making all kinds of changes to how we're doing the campaign. This is our third virtual coffee with the candidate, and I'm still nervous, but we're getting better at it. But so we're practicing social responsibility, social distancing, and leveraging technology to the greatest extent possible, including how we reach out to voters, how we train the volunteers, and just how we stay connected with each other. So one of the things that the campaign has decided, and it was really a no-brainer, this is really not the time um, for like personal phone calls as it relates to fundraising or asking for money or anything for the campaign. There's so much that's going on, and we're in the middle of a pandemic, right? So there's a lot that has people's minds in their focus, and there's a lot of tension and anxiety. So we're not using this time for fundraising or anything of that nature. But what we are using the time for is to reach out to members of the community. The volunteers and I are calling on some of our most vulnerable, the potentially most vulnerable members of our community, just to check in on them, to see how they're doing and to see if there's anything that they need. And if there is need, then we're connecting them with the resources, whether it's delivery of prescriptions and picking up, running errands. So we haven't had too many people take us up on the offer yet, but at least they know that we're here and that we are concerned and that we have compassion for the circumstances that we're all trying to endure. And it makes it so much easier when we're going through something that's unusual and traumatic and stressful when we take the focus off of ourselves and put it on to someone else. So, one of the things, and I'll share just really, really quickly, as it relates to social distancing, we had a very dear friend who does live alone and is in the older age group, and so is considered one of the most vulnerable. But this week was also a very well, it was a great birthday for her. So one of the things that we did was a very spontaneous, very socially responsible greeting to our friend in the back. If you can see her, there were just a few of us who just like in, just like 15 minutes, I was like, hey, can you meet us here? And we did. We had these little signs, and we just wanted to let her know that we were thinking of her, and that just that we were thinking about her. And it really, really put a smile on her face. So there are lots of things that we can do day to day to kind of let people know that we're thinking about them, and that we're going through this together. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that when I have Jaclyn on. But for right now, as it relates to some of the statistics in Arkansas for the COVID-19, as of yesterday, there were 381 cases with 48 individuals who were hospitalized, and 17 of them actually on ventilators at this point. We have unfortunately had 3 individuals who have succumbed to the COVID-19 virus. And our hearts and prayers and thoughts go to the families of those significantly impacted, those who've lost loved ones. But we've also had 19 recoveries. we've had 19 people to be fully restored to health. And so that's a fantastic thing. And so I wanted to make sure that amongst all the information as it relates to how we are um, dealing with being socially isolated and the personal sacrifices that we're making, please know that even as the number in the US continues to rise and we overtake the globe as it relates to statistics with new cases, we do have people getting better. So I want to thank, we can focus on that and be very grateful for that. One of the things that I've heard a lot from the phone calls and outreach and emails are folks who are hurting financially as a result, people who have had reduced hours, people who've had to close their shops, particularly small businesses, folks who've been laid off, folks who've been fired. And if you were watching the news yesterday, all week, you knew that there was a lot of discussion and debate and a lot of just a lot of attention on how the government can best help uh, individuals in this country as they're suffering through this pandemic. And so there was a stimulus package that was signed just yesterday, a $2 trillion stimulus package. Um, and I know that there are all these bells and whistles and hoops and lots of different caveats. But what I did want to make sure and share with you is that, particularly for those with small businesses, we have been talking about a small business loan through the Small Business Administration. Well, my understanding is this new stimulus package really authorizes from the Small Business Administration your local financial institutions, banks, and credit unions to be able to administer and authorize um, the uh, the loans through this stimulus package. And there are a few qualifying um, criteria as it relates to the time that you've been in business, how long you've been open, etc. Few very, very minimal basic qualifications. Um, and you're able to, I think the max for smaller business for an express loan is up to $1 million. Now, doesn't mean you'll qualify for $1 million, but at least that type of relief is out there. And the most beneficial thing that I heard about it was, if you're going through your banks and your credit unions, it will be processed a lot faster than going through the Small Business Administration. Actually, many of you who live in this area may have been on Congressman Womack's town halls, had a audio town hall, telephone town hall yesterday, where a lot of this information was shared. And so the census, the thread was, or the impact was, go ahead, go through your banks and credit unions to apply for this relief. And if you use, whatever portion of the money you use to meet payroll, to meet your rent or mortgage, for your facilities, for your business, for your small business, utilities, that aspect of the loan is 100% forgiven. And so if you are a small business owner, an independent contractor, an entrepreneur, and a 501c3 nonprofit, you can qualify for this type of relief. So that's some bright lights in otherwise really, really dark time. But suppose you don't own a small business and you're one that's been impacted personally. You probably also heard about like the direct money that's going to taxpayers, and it's based on a sliding scale for your income if you're married or single. But if you are married, if you're single, we'll start there. You have the ability to receive a check within the next couple of weeks of up to $1,200, depending on your adjusted gross income from the last tax return that you file, whether it's 2018 or 2019. So it's $1,200 for a single individual plus $500 for each dependent that you claimed on that tax return. And if you are a married couple, then that amount is $2,400. And that's like I said, that's the maximum amount. Depending on your income, that amount, your adjusted gross income, that amount goes down. Um, but there is some relief, and that $500 per dependent does not change, is my understanding. So if you um, filled out an ACH, or you got direct deposit from any returns or refunds from the last time you filed your taxes, then there's really nothing you can need to do. The IRS has that information, that banking information, and will automatically deposit that money after they've gone through the processes. So that's something that will be extraordinarily helpful for a tremendous number of people, in addition to the expansions here in Arkansas as it relates to unemployment benefits and unemployment compensation. My understanding is that the qualifying criteria for unemployment has really just been loosened. So if you've been impacted by this, please don't hesitate, don't wait, reach out, seek these services, do them now, and try to mitigate or try to lessen some of the financial impact that being subject or us being in this pandemic is creating. So hopefully that information is helpful. Hopefully, one of the other things that's really, really, really important is the $100 billion that they have allocated in the stimulus package for healthcare workers and healthcare providers and facilities, for personal protection equipment, for ventilators, for telehealth. We have to give it up. I saw this in New York, and I wish I had been able to do this, to give a hand clap for all of those first responders, for all of those healthcare providers, for those of you who are on the front line, who are sacrificing yourselves every day to take care of the rest of us. There is not enough gratitude in the world to show how much your sacrifices and the work that you do and the mission and the vision, the passion that you have for your craft and your calling. And you are literally saving our lives right now. And we have to say thank you. So I hope wherever you are, you will join me in a hand clap for a cause, hand clap. And if you have someone in your family, or I have a cousin who's a doctor, I have a daughter who's a nurse, I have lots and lots of friends who are dentists and others who are in various aspects of health and the medical services. Thank you. Thank you. So I have that to say. And the other thing as it relates to public service announcement is April 1, which is next week, is U.S. Census Day. Go to 2020census.gov, complete the census. It is extraordinarily important. Of course, we know it's only done every 10 years, but everyone has to be counted. Everyone must be counted. And it really only takes just a few minutes, and it's online, and no answers come directly back to Ronetta or to you or whomever, but that information and the statistics are gathered and used by lawmakers and businesses and others to determine the types and amounts and quantity and quality of services that are going to be provided to our individual communities. So everybody has to be counted. And I know there are folks who are like, oh, I'm not sure if I should. I'm not a citizen here of the United States. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Every person is to be counted. Please go to 2020census.gov for any questions that you have. It is a wonderful, I think I have it right here. There's a wonderful website as it relates to questions you may have. A lot of resources to respond to those questions and to give you the information that you need to feel comfortable and confident about providing the answers. What your answers are going to be used for is significantly important, not just as it relates to the determination of resources for your community, but also as it relates to representation in Congress in the US, I mean, in Washington, as well as in your state. Legislative districts are drawn based on populations, densities, where people are living, and everyone needs to be counted because we want to make sure we have proper, appropriate representation in our government that reflects who we are, where we are, period, because representation does matter. So please, you probably have already received the paper in the mail, and it tells you to go online. Please go online, April 1, Census Day. Okay, so, we've got Cedar Hill reporting in. My mom's on. Good morning, Mom. And we've got folks coming in from Little Rock. I see you, Deborah. Thank you. We'll get you added to the newsletter distribution list. Hi, Denise. Representative Denise Bennett is on the feed today. Good morning, my friend. How are you? She's doing great work down there in Little Rock and has been a tremendous support as well as Deborah and Sophie and just about everyone on here. Danielle, I see you. And we'll get you added to the newsletter distribution, and Allison as well. Thank you guys so much for sharing your email addresses, and we'll make sure to get you added in, and you'll be able to stay in touch with the campaign. So next, I'd like to move us to the most dynamic aspect of our conversation today, and that is sharing some time with Miss Jaclyn House. I'm going to go ahead and introducing you, and hopefully I'm putting you on the screen there. Y'all, I'm so excited. This is 2 times in a row that I've been able to leverage this side by side. So I'm really, really excited. So Jaclyn is a resident here in Northwest Arkansas and is within our district here. She is a wife and a working mom with 3 kids, and it's just a really dynamic person, very, very helpful, very, very supportive, and just a lot of energy. I just don't know how she does it. But anyway, like I said, at the start, she had so many great questions for me during the first broadcast or live event. And so rather than me trying okay, and Jaclyn saying what, and then come back, let me just have Jaclyn on so she can ask her questions and everyone can see her face and we can just have a conversation. So Jaclyn, I saw you with your coffee. I have my coffee. I hope you guys have your coffee. Mom, do you have your coffee? Did you get yours? Auntie Debbie? Mel, do you have your coffee? Deborah?
This is like my secret mojo, actually. So people always ask, because I'm up really early, and they always ask, how do you get through your day? And it's,
it's the
caffeine.
It's the mocha, the Joe.
Yep. Most people know if they work with me, I've got to have coffee first.
We were talking yesterday, and I was like, well, what's your favorite form of caffeine? She said coffee, and I was like, me. Anyone who knows me knows it's usually, if my mom would type it in, she'll tell you it's the Red Bull. And they come out with all these different flavors and whatnot, but it's delicious. It's delicious.
Yes.
April, good. Here's your coffee. Here.
Right. I did discover a new way to take in my caffeine, which was whipped coffee, which is really good. And for you guys at home, it's a really good activity to do with your kids. Now, you decide, of course, if you want them to have said coffee, even if it's just a little bit, but it's very easy to make and very, very good. So that's actually another kind of way to.
I'm sorry. What's whipped coffee?
So whipped coffee, you need instant coffee, sugar, a little bit of cinnamon, and hot water. And you mix them all together with, you can use a hand mixer, you can use a frother. I saw a girl say that she actually just hand mixed it for about 20 minutes though. And it whips into this really kind of thick kind of froth, and you put it on top of a dairy product. So you can use whole milk, or I've tried almond milk. Very good. You mix it all together. It's very good. So that's kind of my newest addiction. That's pretty good.
Oh, wow. So this is going to be almost like a lifetime segment, because last time, so we just learned about how to make our own whipped coffee.
Very good. Yes.
And last week we learned how to make our own hand sanitizer.
Uh-huh.
and all the ingredients we needed, the different with the isopropyl alcohol and the aloe gel, aloe vera gel, and the essential oils. So maybe we should keep it going, huh? So Mel says, tell us more about the whipped coffee. How's it taste? Does it taste like you're
It's
eating
very
foam?
good. I will tell you, because you're using instant coffee, the coffee taste does come through a little bit strong. So I do suggest, just to kind of take down some of that bite, using a flavored milk. So if it's, I use vanilla almond milk, that was very good. If you want to use like a chocolate milk, usually nut milks have their own kind of flavor, so you can do that. I think you can also probably add a extract, like a vanilla or an almond as well, to kind of take down some of that coffee bite. But again, it's very, very good. It's, if you do it right, because it took me 2 times to do it, it whips up. It's kind of thick. It almost looks like a peanut butter consistency. But it's very, again, like I said, you just dollop it right on top of
Oh,
your
okay.
dairy,
Then
and
it
you
dips.
mix it together.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes.
The
So
the
yeah,
thought right
very
then
good.
of trying to eat a peanut butter mixtured
Oh no.
coffee, I was like,
Yes,
but I
no.
see you
Just
shared it.
dollop it. Yep. Just
Got
dollop
it,
it
got
right
it,
on
got it.
top. Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
does sound
So
delicious. So thank you so much. That's really cool. We'll have to try that.
yes.
Oh, hi, Kedra. How are you? Kedra is another dynamic woman. Sorry, Jaclyn, just I got distracted, but
No,
she
that's okay.
is running for the state senate as well. And Kedra, I think it's District 23. In her area, she had a primary contender, and she was victorious in her primary, and she's marching on to November. And the reason I called her out specifically, as well as Denise and some of the others, is just to kind of show the camaraderie that
Mhm.
folks have and support that we have for each other throughout this process. And it really is more of a sisterhood. And because these are women that I'm talking about, but the guys who are just as involved are just as supportive as well. So thank you guys so much for joining today. So Jaclyn, what do we want to talk about? You had so many questions last
I
time. I'm going to
did.
just turn the floor.
So one question I did have is, it is election year, and I know that there's a lot of things happening, of course, right now with COVID-19 and kind of a lot of uncertainty. But as we move forward to November, a question that always comes up is, where can people go to find information about the candidates that are running? Because as a voter, we want to be as educated as possible on what the different candidates, their platforms, what they stand for. And so, is there like a hub where voters can go to say, okay, here's Ronetta Francis, and here's her platform, here's so and so, here's what their platform is. And if there is, I'd love to know what that is and be able to share that for sure.
So what I'll do is I'm trying to make sure I do this the right way. Hold on one second. I will show everyone the website for the Secretary of State here in Arkansas. And it is full of information as it relates to just about any questions you may have as it relates to elections. You can go to this website, and here's the screenshot there, and it's Secretary of State SOS .arkansas.gov, and there you will be able to see all the information that you need as it relates to who the candidates are, where you can, hold on one second. Oh, what did I just do? Hold on. I'm trying to do too much. There we go. Who the candidates are, um, where you need to go to vote, what the ballot initiatives are. Now, as it relates to one comprehensive place where all of the candidates and all of their platform issues are, there is not one comprehensive place for that. But what you can do is go to the voter view section of the website that I just mentioned, and you can plug in your name, plug in other information. It's just really, really quick if you look at it there, and actually, I think I have the voter view one. And yeah, here it is. I'll show you this part real quick. Go to voter view, and I can't, if it's your name and your birth date, I think is all the information that's required. And um, it will give you all the information that you need as it relates to what district you're in, who your current elected officials are, and what districts you're in, and all of that information where you would need to go to vote. And so with that, you can also go back to the Secretary of State website and find those individuals. Everyone, just particularly the incumbents, they have their websites, and you can see
Okay.
exactly what what they put out in the public forum as it relates to activity they've been engaged in while in the legislature. They'll also probably have some connections to their other social media platforms, so you can follow along there as well. But also with the on the Secretary of State website, you can find out who's running
Mm-hmm.
in your district. And it has the complete list across the entire state of everyone who's running for any elected position. And you click on that person, and then you can follow the trail as it relates to finding their website or finding more information. So it will require a couple of clicks, but
Sure.
not, it's not terrible, and it's really, really quite interesting. I guess I just found it interesting, but you can find out a lot of information on that Secretary of State website.
Mm-hmm.
Just about everything relative to the elections is included on that site. So that's what I would advocate if you're having conversations with anyone and they're like, where do I go to vote? How do I know who's running? What are the issues? All of those things are answered on that one website.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
I know too, like just the state that we're in now, virtual connections are very important. And so that's really what I wanted to talk about is just like the virtual connections and how important it is to still maintain those relationships that you have already, even though you're not able to see the people that you love the most and be able to hug them and love on them the same. The connection can still be there. So
Mhm,
we've got the Facebook lives and the Instagram lives, but there's also FaceTiming or a lot of things that are popular now. Is like last night DJ Derek had a live virtual set on Facebook, and so many people were in there and just kind of talking to each other and having a good time. And so
I
really,
missed it.
if you're struggling with those, how do I still maintain my relationships with people if I can't necessarily be in physical contact with them? Use these
Mhm,
virtual opportunities to do that.
mhm, mhm. I'm a little uh, isolated. No, I'm just kidding. I missed the DJ Derek session last night.
Yes.
Great job. I did catch it last week, and I think he does give a caveat that it's not necessarily family friendly
Right.
because there were a couple of songs. I was like, "Ooh, who did
Right.
that?" Oh, okay. But I tell you what was, but to that point, and even on a larger scale, because that DJ Derek is here local to
Hmm.
Northwest Arkansas, but is DJ D Nice.
Hmm.
Was it last week?
Hmm.
He did an Instagram live session. I think the first night it was like 9 or 12 or 16,
Yeah,
some
he went for a long time.
marathon DJ session that had over 100. No, the first night it was over 100,000
Hmm.
people who signed in and logged on. The next day, within 15 minutes of him starting it live, it was over 150,000 people.
Hmm.
So you talk about using technology to bring people in. There were over 200,000 people total, just kind of connecting over music, and
Right.
his music is good too. But the thing that was so interesting were like who was on, and he would look at his screen like I'm doing right now, and he gave a shout out to Michelle Obama, or gave a shout out to former Vice President Joe Biden, to Mark Zuckerberg. So as he was about to reach the limit, and about the number of people who can join your live, he said, "Mark, I know you're in here. Can you make sure you don't cut us off?" And he didn't cut him off. It was
Right.
amazing. So the whole it was a community, and people were
Hmm.
talking and chatting. So I love the idea about FaceTime and using Instagram Live and whatnot. But it's intimidating, Jaclyn.
It is a little bit. I mean, because usually, you're on the phone, so you can kind of hide yourself a little bit. And so video does kind of expose you a
Yeah.
little bit. But if you think about the people that you're connecting with, it's the people who mean the most to you.
Mhm.
And so you're okay in that vulnerable space. But even as a lot of people are working from home and doing Zoom meetings and everything, I mean, even that, I mean, nobody is really, and I don't want to say anybody, but a lot of people at this point, they've kind of stripped down. So maybe before, where I went to the office and I had on makeup, maybe I don't have that in my Zoom meeting. And I think that's okay. I think where we are right now as a country with everything going on, I think people are kind of stripping down and really kind of allowing themselves just to be who they are,
Right.
even in a video setting. So it is a little bit intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. Everybody's in the same space. And
Yeah.
again, it's with the people that mean the most to you. And if you're in the workspace, everybody's just trying to get to the same goal, which is
It's true.
accomplish whatever goal it is that you're trying to work towards. So,
It's true.
um, but it's also really good too, because like I FaceTime my mom the other day, which is nothing new, but it was just good to actually see her, because I know that she necessarily can't get here
Yeah.
anytime soon. And so there's a lot of emotion too tied to being able to video and FaceTime with
Mhm.
someone, especially like I said, when you
Mhm.
can't necessarily like physically touch them. For
Mhm.
me too,
Mhm.
if you're into Enneagrams, I'm a 7. And so we're very outgoing, enthusiastic, and we really thrive on those relationships where we can really be with people in person. And
Yes.
so this is kind of a struggle for people who are really extroverted. And so we're really getting creative on how we do it. And I think keeping those relationships virtually going is really important.
Yes. Yes. And it takes on a whole other meaning, I would say, when you have those virtual connections, because
Hmm.
I would FaceTime my daughter in the past, but this past week, one of our favorite shows that we watched is Grey's Anatomy. And so she said, "Hey, let's FaceTime each other while we both watch the show." I was like, "How's that?" But we did it. So I had her on the computer, I had the television on. We tried to sync our televisions as close as possible. And we sat there and we watched Grey's Anatomy together and cried together and did all the things that we normally would have done had she
Hmm.
been sitting right next to me. So it's it gives us that closer sense of
Hmm.
connection. And isn't it interesting that during I sound like maybe a social distancing, um, social isolation, that we find ways to get closer to each other. Isn't that
Agreed.
isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Isn't that
Yes.
interesting? But
And I would say for you, it's a great way. How are you even navigating through connecting with your constituents?
so just like today, we're
Hmm.
using Facebook Live, we're using Zoom a lot for team meetings, for other types of meetings, just getting to know people, introductory meetings,
Hmm.
and in instances where we probably may have just used the phone. Now, because we don't have the opportunity to meet face to face at this point, we're doing it via using technology. So, so those are some of the main ways. And then, so just learning more about all the
Hmm.
different types of functionality that these computers and things have and have had in the background that will enable us to stay connected as close as we possibly can. It's not exactly the same
Right.
as being able to reach out and touch someone. But it's the closest that we have right now, and it
Mhm.
does give us a good sense of not being cut off completely.
Sure.
And it was something you mentioned about the Enneagram, and it's Enneagram. You're the third person in like a week's time to mention the Enneagram. And Stephanie, I know you're on here and you posted a quiz on Facebook. And so I took it. I had to take it. And I don't remember what the number was. I think it was a 2. So you say you're a 7, so you're
Mhm.
an extrovert, right? So I took it twice, 2 different instruments. And both times it came out as a perfectionist or
Oh.
or the reformer on a different instrument. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And they both meant the same thing. And I
Mm.
was like, oh, okay, so I guess that is what it is then, right? So it just really, yes, Stephanie, it's on you. Those things are really, really interesting. And so you're very extroverted. Um, I'm a perfectionist, but it's not a bad thing
Right. Right.
in and of itself. But when I read the description, I was like, yeah, you just really push to execute things well. It means a lot. There's you motivate other people. I should have the whole description memorized, but when I read it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of me. So I think it's a good thing for folks to even think. I sent it to my daughters. They haven't taken
Mhm.
it yet. They probably whatever. But yes, so Stephanie's a helper, and she really, really is. But yeah, so that was another way to kind of like
Mhm.
bring us together,
Yep.
eliminate some bridges, and draw us closer together as a community.
Yes. And I know it's like, we've been talking about, technology, and even with my family, we're a family of five. And so, we're talking about as parents, like trying to draw our kids away from technology. But here we are in some aspects pushing them towards it a little
Yeah.
bit. Like my 7-year old, we did a Zoom meeting with an artist out in California, and he was teaching kids from all around the country
Wow.
how to draw via Zoom. And so, again, as we're kind of navigating through this space and trying to figure out like what to do and keeping our kids and families active. I mean, now we're really, really depending on technology in a ways to kind of get us through that. I know locally there's a lot of things happening virtually. Several of our local theaters have things going on: Arts Live Theater,
Hmm,
Trike Theater, Arts Center of the Ozarks. There's all kinds of things happening locally that you can get your families involved in,
that's pretty cool.
that does involve technology. So again, it's almost like we were like, okay, maybe stay off technology for a little bit,
Yeah.
but now we're using
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
more, maybe now just to um, keep ourselves active.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to just like the mind numbing time in front of the screen, and there's no growth, there's no interaction. This is completely different. This is
Mhm.
engaging, and it's instructive, and it's enlightening. And so there's a lot to be gained from that. And I've just seen like all over different platforms ways that different individuals and companies are leveraging technology to
Mhm.
engage people, to stay connected and even to do business. I thought it was so interesting. I saw a car commercial the other day that says, "We'll just deliver the car to you. You don't even have to come to the lot. Fill out the application online, pick out your car online. We'll drop it off and drop the key." So people are finding ways, and companies
Mhm.
are finding ways. Um, I was trying to buy a T-shirt from a local vendor
Mhm.
yesterday. Um, so I think it's important to support our local businesses, uh,
Mhm.
particularly our local small businesses. They really, really, really are in need, always though,
Yes.
but particularly now. So if you're thinking about what you can do to help someone else, think about uh, one of those small businesses on Etsy or some of those other. You can still practice social distancing,
Sure.
still find these products, but consider shopping local and supporting your neighbors, supporting your neighbors.
For sure.
So
But
what?
again, I just encourage everybody just to keep those connections
Yeah,
going. I think that's part of the healing that will help us get through everything, is as we're in self-isolation or if we're quarantining with our families, and but we want to see the people that we love the most. Just keep those relationships going, however that looks and feels for you.
yeah. I saw interesting information about how important it is to exercise,
Hmm.
to get plenty of sleep, particularly when you're self isolating. And across all of these different platforms, there are online exercises.
Hmm.
And even Peloton, I'm not doing an advertisement for them, but it's just one. They are one of several that are doing online free memberships for like their online classes, and Peloton
Hmm.
has it for like 90 days. So you can sign up for the next 90 days, take all the classes. And you think, oh, I don't have a bike, I can't do that. Well, they have yoga classes, they have dance classes, they have fitness classes, they have all kinds of things. Um, YouTube, of course, is another vast repository of information for exercises or just information. You could spend like so much time just on YouTube figuring out how to do anything
Yeah.
really. So making sure you get exercise, getting some rest, drinking lots of water. I remember I posted, it was probably about a month ago, when I finally accomplished my goal of drinking a whole gallon of water in
Mm.
one day. Yeah, I did. I was really, really excited. And a lot of people responded, I can't do that. I've got to go, going. Well, now if you're at home when you're doing some work, you don't, drink. So drink your water is what I'm saying. Drink lots of water. So, Jaclyn, I know that your job requires you to still leave the home. So
Hmm.
you're not able to like socially isolate. What kind of impact does that have on you and your family when your husband and the kids are home, and you're out engaging in the world and then coming back? How do you all manage that and still take, public health and the health of your family into consideration?
Sure. What I've been doing since we've been kind of in this self quarantine mode is when I get home, I don't even see them. I just beeline straight to our shower and just strip down, shower really quick before I have interaction with them. I mean, we're taking all the precautions at work as well, but just to be extra safe, I'm just making sure that whatever I've worn during the day, I've kind of disposed of, or I've kind of got rid of that before I have interaction
Hmm.
with them, just because I want to keep them safe. And like I said,
Right.
we're taking the precautions at work. We're socially distancing the best that we can.
Hmm.
We wiping down, sanitizing, washing hands, and all those things. But just to be extra safe, that's something that we're doing here at home. And honestly, when I get home and I've showered, it actually works as a really good way to kind of like decompress from the day, and so I feel extra relaxed once I've done that, and I can kind of turn off my work switch and then focus on my family. Because by the time I get home, they may have already done like some fun stuff. They went
Oh,
hiking the other day, and I wasn't there, and I was
you
so
missed
sad.
it.
I was so sad. But by the time they got home, I felt really refreshed and I had a lot of energy. And I was just ready to kind of hang out with them because, again, it's just allowed me to kind of decompress
Yeah,
from my workday.
yeah. So new routines that we're incorporating into our daily lives to be socially responsible, take care of ourselves, and help to
Hmm.
take care of our families as well. Um, so yeah, that's truly truly important. And I also heard recently, like while you're in that shower to help with your immunity system,
Hmm.
you turn the water. And I practiced this a couple of times, so we'll see if it helps. We normally take our showers with just like really hot water,
Hmm.
but turning it cold.
Oof.
And then I turn it back hot, and I shower some more, and I turn it cold. And your body, the temperature changes,
Uh-huh.
creates some type of neurological, and your body starts to encircle itself
Okay.
around your, and so it's working internally to strengthen your immune system. So next
Okay.
time you guys are in the shower, don't just luxuriate in the hot water. Take one for the team. Turn it to cold. Stand
Oof.
there. It'll be okay. You can turn it back to warm, but I did it like 3 times, and
Hmm.
um, within one shower. And then the next time I did it again, and it gets easier. It gets easier. And just imagine, this is what they do at the really fancy spas when you go and you have like this hydrotherapy. They put you in this nice warm spa, and then they drench cold water on you, and then they put you in this pool, and then they drench cold water. So there's some science to it. I don't know all of it, but just try it. You won't
Okay.
lose anything by
I'm
it.
just imagining the back and forth. I can already feel my body like locking up once I go
Oh, it
into
does.
it.
It does. It does. Well, Jaclyn, thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming on today. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for your questions. Um, is there anything else you wanted to share with the group or any other questions? So we're going to round it
Let
out.
me know if you guys try the whipped coffee.
Oh, yeah. 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 The other thing I'm going to do is I think Stephanie posted one of the links, but we've done a lot of talking about the enneagrams,
Hmm.
which I found tremendously fascinating. And so we'll post information about that. That's kind of fun stuff. And we'll also get everyone here looped in on our distribution for our emails. And we will continue to reach out to everyone in the district the best way that we can, reaching out to check on folks, see how they're doing. I like to use this time as just an opportunity to give updates, just touch base with folks, and just give folks an opportunity to just spend some time connecting. It's not a very formal political speech time because I think people you know, it, it's just, there'll be time for that. I'll just say it that way. There will be time for that. And so now it's just let us connect and let us care for each other and let us make sure that if there's anything that any one of us needs out there, that we reach out, that we let someone know of our need, and and on the flip side, reach out to other
Hmm.
people and see if there is a need. Because a lot of people won't just express their needs. So reach out to your neighbors and just check on them, see how they're doing, make an offer, and just say hi, across the fence, across the yard, whatever, and we can make it work. We will make it work, and we will get through this together.
Hmm.
This too shall pass. Um, Jaclyn, thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you.
on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your energy, your information. Oh, the recipe for the whipped coffee. That's the other
Yes, I'll
thing.
share that with you.
We're going to share that. And thank you so much for everything that you do for your family, for this community, and for all of us in general. So again, I cannot um, end without giving another huge shout out to the first responders, the healthcare providers. Thank you for everything that you do and that you continue to do. That's right. That's right. You're doing that clap. And we cannot thank you enough. Thank you to the teachers, my daughter's on. Hi, Jordan, who are working even harder now that
Hmm.
they're teaching remotely by coming up with these lessons plans and making sure that they are appropriate for remote learning, and particularly for the younger babies who may not be able to do the independent learning. So thank you for everything that you're doing. We're all pulling in this. We're all pulling together, and we will make it through. We'll make it through. Thank you so much again. I'll check in with you guys next week. Have a wonderful week. Be well. Stay safe.